Done a live in a while, so I thought I'd jump on so I could aid you guys and have a little bit of a chat. Was on live with Neil Pickup and the Fix crew earlier today, so this was a hot topic. This whole "Can I ever reach number one in the world?" It came up right at the end, um, and it was pretty hot topic. So I thought I'd jump on with you guys, have a chat about it, talk about those goals that I listed, and yeah, kind of let you get inside my head a little bit as to what I'm aiming for, why I'm aiming for it, where I think I can go, what's possible, all that sort of stuff. Stronger than everyone else says more like you. What is it? It says more like your psychopathic politicians ever let you travel out of your own country. Yeah, that's a good question. That is a limiting factor at the moment, but hopefully not for too much longer. But yeah, so if you missed the fix earlier today, like I said, we spoke for a good almost 2.5 hours, and for like the last half an hour, Ray brought up the post that I made on Facebook where I basically outlined my goals for the next 20 years in the sport, and and Ray didn't like it. Ray didn't like it. Neil said, "No, it's impossible." Interesting, Bojada Simonov, he was like, "No, I like it. I like Ryan's approach on this one." Um, and it's obviously a polarizing thing. If you're after delusional Ryan Bowen material, you can probably find it there in that fixed episode. I might give you some here today. If you stick around, just ask me the right questions, and you'll probably get some more. But essentially, if you missed it, the post on Facebook, I can't even remember, did I share it? I might have shared it on YouTube as well. But anyway, the post on Facebook that I made outlined my goals. The first and most immediate goal was, I said, within 1 to 2 years, I want to win Zloty within my weight category, which is 95 kilos. The second goal was I want to be number one in the world for my weight category, which was the 3 to 5 years window that I'm aiming for. Then I said I want to be the number one arm wrestler overall in the world, which was, I said, 5 to 10 years for that as a window. And then I said 10 to 20 years, I want to be recognized as one of the all-time greats in the sport. And finally, I said, through all of this, I want to empower as many people as I can to call arm wrestling a career. So for me, that's just the truth. That's just what my goals are. Whether you like them or not, that's what they are. And that's just I do find it funny that that's somewhat entertainingly intimidating to people like Coach Ray. Neil Pickup is obviously a man who's seen all of what the sport has to show. He's been around for many decades, and Ray was making the point that, look, Ryan, if you were going to be a number one in the world at any point in time, you would have already displayed those traits, and you would have already kind of been there. Ryan Espy saying, "I believe in you, Ryan, even though you put that bum chance short in the thumbnail." Thank you, Ryan Espy. I appreciate it. It's really, I actually got a call from Michael Todd immediately after the fix finished. I got a call from Michael Todd, and Michael said to me, he said, "Dude, I can't believe the attitudes of Ray and Neil there. It was pissing me off." He said, "Absolutely, you can make it. It's ridiculous to think you can't." The formula for making it, really, for me, more important than genetics, more important than your current strength zone, is your commitment, your consistency, your relentlessness, your ferociousness to study the things that matter most. Look, strength just comes in time. Strength is the easy part. Strength is the thing that will develop just without failure if you remain consistent. It's inevitable. You can't arm wrestling train 7 days a week for 20 years. And when I say, I'm not saying like arm wrestling training with just blase. I'm talking detailed arm wrestling training. I'm talking motivated, specific arm wrestling training. You can't do that for 20 years and not develop significant strength. So strength is the least of the problems when it comes to this process and how I approach it. For me, the biggest and utmost importance is the study of arm wrestling, the perfection of arm wrestling, the mastery, whatever you want to call it. It's something that I've been very obsessed with from the beginning, and I'll continue to dive down that rabbit hole for as long as I'm competitive within the sport. So straight away, I love that Michael Todd rang me and said, dude, genetically, he said, because one of the angles that Ray and Neil were taking was they were saying that genetically, I really just don't have the potential. I don't have the frame. I don't have the ability to get that strong to even be the number one within my weight class at any point in time. And once again, I highly disagree. I've been at the sport for 8.5 years. The first 4 years of the sport was really just novice training ground. All of Australia were novices at that point. So I was training and beating other novices. Wasn't surrounded by the elite Krasimir Kostadinov type coaches and whatnot to really fast track me. When I personally coach guys now in the Brisbane club, I see them progressing within the first 6 months more than I progressed within the first 3 years, because they're now getting high quality table time and they're much more better set in the sense. Uncle John comes in with Ryan Bowen, willpower is unbeatable. Thank you, sir. The willpower for me really is the cornerstone of everything I do here. The psychology of this is I just don't care. I really don't. I don't care that people think I can't do it. I actually, like, some people say, do you enjoy the fact that people say that you can't do it? I find I'm quite indifferent to it. What I do love is arm wrestling. What I do love is pursuing perfection of arm wrestling. And I just constantly am going to seek out losses until I can't find them anymore. And it's getting harder to find them, believe it or not. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's getting harder to find the losses. The last 2 years has been a very frustratingly impossible circumstance for me to get progression. Thankfully, here in Brisbane, we do have a very significant number of arm wrestlers with a lot of talent, a lot of strength. People like Lachlan Adair, Jordan Davis, Marcus Atirai, Fatali Mateo, all these guys, big, strong humans that are good arm wrestlers at the same time. So I've got the ability to arm wrestle, but I haven't got the ability to progress down this path that I'm wanting to pursue. So when I look at each of those goals specifically, the first one, win the Zloty tour. At my weight category. So in 2019, I competed in the Zloty tour in the 95 kilos category. That was actually heavier than I should have. I could have competed in the 86 kilo category. It was actually John Brzezinski who mentioned to me, Ryan, have a crack at the 95 kilos because if you might qualify for the top 8. So I went, okay, I'll eat my way up to the 95 kilos. So my frame going into that Zloty tour was a frame that was ready for the 86 kilo category. I ate my way up to 95. I was fat, and yeah, I jumped on testosterone for the first time at that tournament, and I got one win. One win on fouls. Had a stop on the guy, but whatever. Lost to a guy who did, Raymond Zantanovich, who did qualify for the top 8 in a respectable manner. He didn't crush me. He got through me eventually. This time around, if we address it again, I'll be going to the Zloty tour. Right now, I'm 98 kilos. Significantly stronger than I was in 2019 by a very, very significant margin. And having had the lessons that I had from Zloty in terms of a referee, starting style, conditions of the tournament, I've got that under my belt now. So I've had 2 years to go and improve. So undoubtedly, my chances at the Zloty tour, whenever I get there next time, are going to be significantly more than they were last time. I acknowledge I'm a better Supermatch pool than I am tournament, but I know for me to become one of these all-time greats, I need to be able to do well in an Eastern European tournament setting. And hence, that is my focus. I know I can go to the USA and pull Supermatches and do really well, kick Chance Shaw's ass again, all that sort of stuff. But tournament settings in Europe is something that I'm yet to master. And so that is my focus in the immediate sense. That's where I want to go. And that's the opportunities that I want to try to pursue. And I will. And like I said, 1 year, 2 year, that's my guess on how long it's going to take. That's my goal on how long it's going to take. You know, if I don't achieve it, I don't care. I'll just delay it another year. I'll keep going it. I won't stop. That's the thing. You might want me to, but I won't stop. Second goal of reaching the number 1 overall in my weight. Okay, that is something that really does interest me. Again, at that 95 kilo category, I want to not only qualify for the top 8, I want to win the top 8, I want to beat the Rob Vigeons of the world, beat the Paul Lynns of the world, whatever. Maybe even the John Brzenks of the world if he comes back into that weight category. And I don't think that's that far-fetched. I really don't. I was very grateful that Igor Mazarenko offered me the match with Irakli Zarakashvili. Unable to get there. Dan Mosier now has the spot. Wish you all the best, Dan. But that's the path that I want to go. I want to get to the point where I'm in the top 8 and winning it. And that to me doesn't seem that far-fetched. It doesn't intimidate me at all. I think I could have matches right now with anyone in the world at 95 kilos and be respectable. I want a match with Zoloev. I want a match with Ongabayev. Whoever. I don't care. I'll have a match with any of them right now and be good to go. So 3 to 5 years, I want to be at the top of that pile. And again, when I say 3 to 5 years, that's my prediction of how long it's going to take me. We'll see if I'm right. Make sure you remember 3 to 5 years. Check the post. Come and laugh at me, or come and say, "Holy dooly, Ryan, you were right." Now, the big one that Ray had a massive problem with was the next goal, and this is the one where Neil was like, "Yeah, no, this one's in the delusional realm." And this is one where Michael Todd actually rang me and said, "No, I don't think you're delusional at all. I think it's definitely possible." And that was within 5 to 10 years, be the number 1 in the world overall. Now that, let's assume Levan's retired. Let's assume Vitali's still going. Devon's probably got a King's move really set by then. Is it possible? I say to myself, I would need to be around that 125 kilos, probably minimum, in good shape, with all the skills that I've still got, and also having further developed them in order for that to be a realistic possibility. Again, what I find amusing is that people get upset that I would even dare to have such a goal. But again, it doesn't intimidate me. It just doesn't intimidate me the slightest bit to aim for something like that. Bring it on. I think me at 125 kilos in 10 years' time, with another 10 years' time of experience in this sport, is a pretty bad dude. And would you bet against me being a significantly stronger human than I am now? Of course not. The development that would bring, given the level of time commitment, obsession that I have with the sport, it would bring a significant amount of opportunity, growth, whatnot. So that to me, again, Neil, Ray, they're sitting there shaking their heads, laughing at it, saying this is ridiculous. Again, Bozidar, who was on the show with me, I really liked him. Bozidar, actually, I chatted with him afterwards, and he was saying the mindset that I have, he really admires, and he says he's trying so hard to instill a similar mindset in his students in his club. And he said it's very, very difficult. He said no one in his club has that mindset other than himself at the moment. And he sees that and is like, no, actually, I really respect that you've got that mindset. And anyone who does have that mindset, who has somewhat walked the path, like a Bozidar, I mean, he's still young, he's 23, but he's already walked the path to a degree where he's now considered the number 1 in the world. He's been arm wrestling for 8 years. He's considered number 1 in the world for 80 kilos in a lot of people's minds. People like that recognize it. People like Michael Todd recognize it. When I spoke with Michael, he said to me he genetically had a lousy start point. He was getting his ass handed to him for a long time. Was nowhere in the realms of the Ron Barths and the John Brzenks. But his disgust for losing and his determination to get to that number 1 remained consistent. And he's consistent, and he's consistent. And in his mid-40s, whether you agree with it or not, there were many people on the planet that at one time considered Michael Todd to be the number 1 in the world. So, is it possible? Of course it is. And Michael sees that mindset. He recognizes it as something familiar. And he said, dude, I'm all behind you. So, I appreciate that, Michael. It did give me some fuel to work with. At the end of the day, the psychology that I use best on myself for progress is to seek out the highest possible ranked guy that is willing to arm wrestle me in a legitimate ready go and go and lose them. That's what I want. That is what I want. I want to keep seeking out losses till I simply can't find them anymore. They're getting harder to find. Whether that you think that's the truth or not, they simply are getting harder to find. Particularly in the super match format, I do well, obviously. But the tournament format, I want to do well also. So I'm going to keep doing that. And the Ray Lipens of the world, can be satisfied with their own level. That's fine. Not everyone wants to shoot for the number one in the world. I do, and I will continue to pursue it. Will I get there? We'll see. We'll see. But I'm not gonna be a pussy and say that, hey, no, I'm just gonna be limited by my genetics and just be satisfied to be a decent redhead arm wrestler. No, 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 no. I'm going for the top. And you can either come along with me and watch it, or you can laugh along and then go silent later on. But that's really where my head's at. Now, when it comes to, I'm seeing a question, am I going to beat Adair? Um, Lachlan Adair is undoubtedly the strongest opponent that I've faced so far to date. If you look at his 2019 performances, which was his last international performances, he did quite well at Zloty. It looked really good against people like Zambolet, who are multiple world champions. Lachlan absolutely crushed Vladislav Krasovskis without breaking a sweat. Not a problem. That was his 2019 form. What he has done with his strength and his skill since then is a very significant step up. So if we take what we already knew of Lachlan in 2019 and we add the development that he's had, undoubtedly, and I know this to be true because I feel the damn dude every week. He's my most difficult opponent. Now, am I going to beat him? I don't know. But what I do know is I have all the skill sets, all the tool sets, and the sufficient strength to do so. This is a hard match for me, but trust me, there is so much more to it than simply what it appears at training. That is chalk and cheese. Training and ready to go, oh my goodness, couldn't be two more different things. And when it comes to that start, the amount of extra stuff that I will bring out to play in that circumstances that will be a factor will surprise you. It'll surprise Lachlan. And like I said, this is my toughest opponent today. Undoubtedly, Lachlan is stronger than anyone I've faced before in a super match. Lachlan Adair would murder Chance Shaw, who he would murder Ryan Scott. Who are those my previous two super matches of mine, most recent ones. Lachlan Adair is significantly stronger than both of those guys. And yeah, that's who I'm facing next. So anyway, I just wanted to share this one because I haven't been live with you guys for a while. And yeah, it was a good talking point on the fix today. I couldn't help myself but get back on here and have a chat. So if you guys have got any questions, hit me up now and I'll answer them for you. But now that I've finished my rant. All right, have a look at some of your comments. Oh, Michael Hathaway says, you'll never ever beat Lachlan again. Dream on, Michael Hathaway. Dream on. Have I pulled Jordan recently? Yeah, about 4 weeks ago I pulled Jordan and very comfortably containing him anyway. What else we got? Yeah, Devin said he would never let me beat him. Devin and I have agreed to a super match in 4 years' time. He'll be 50, I'll be 40. I think it's gonna be a good super match. I can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah, he reckons his King's move will be far too set. People are asking how could you beat Ongabayev? So Ongabayev is one of those guys, like he's in that chapter 2 of my goals. Ongabayev is one of those guys that could possibly be the number 1 ranked 95 kilo guy. It's between him and Babayev, Sasho, RVJ, Todd Hutchins if he's coming back down. Like they're the names. Ongabayev's in there. We don't really necessarily know right now who the number 1 95 kilo guy is, but they're the sorts of names we're talking about. Like I said, I don't think that I'm the favorite against any of those guys in my current form, but I do think I'm within the realm of being worthy of a match with them, and I don't think that I would look out of place by any stretch if I was to face any of those guys. So in terms of technically how I would think about tackling Ongabayev, I mean he's a very high back pressure, pronated kind of guy. For me, when it comes to countering a technique like that, if that's what the question really is specifically about, I don't think I would try to out-top roll Ongabayev. I think that his ace is probably too good for me to try to beat him at his own game. So I would look to derail his top roll. I would look to not turn his pronation in, but simply limit his pronation. Just keep it where it is. Keep it center. Don't allow him to pronate, but don't try to turn him over. An effort spent trying to turn him over would probably fail, which would leave me disconnected to my own arm, which would leave me disconnected to my own defense, which would see him pinning me comfortably. So instead of trying to turn his pronation down, I would simply try to limit it in the straps. Just limit that pronation. Use a quarter supinated turn. Allow him to attack, and just if my fingers could contain his pronation and my lats could get onto his bicep, then we're in a situation where my side pressure would be able to make an impact. And I think over the long game, a stop is the first objective. Get the stop, then work. Use the technical skills I've got to lead the dance, add the fatigue, and ultimately get the victory. So at first thought, that's how I would approach an Ongobayev when it comes to that day. Yeah. Someone asked me, what do we got? How would I do against Frodo Hoagland? I think I would do well against Frodo Hoagland. I'm a bit heavier than him at the moment. I've got about 8 kilos on him. I think that I could probably top roll and transition to a press against Frodo. Getting dug down in a hook with Frodo would be super fun. I would love to see it. I think we both have a similar technical style of defensive hooking. So it'd be interesting to see whose hand was able to force the opponent to attack. Because I think whoever's doing the attacking between Frodo and I in the hook would probably lose. The person who, and I say that because defensive arm wrestling like Frodo does, or defensive hooking like I would do against Frodo in the hook, would be, it's a situation where you're locking down someone's rotation and pronation so much so that they can feel the bleed is happening on them faster than it is on you. And that forces them to have to attack. And if they attack, the bleed amplifies and amplifies. So if they don't get through successfully, it gets worse. So Frodo uses that method all the time in his defensive style of arm wrestling. I do too in my defensive hook. That match would not come down to who's got better side pressure, but who's got a better hand in a defensive sense. So I'd love to go there and find out, to be honest. Josiah saying, Ryan, I would say your natural frame is around as big as Michael Todd's. What do you think? Michael's 6'3". I'm just shy of 6'2". Our hand size is about the same. Our wrist size is about the same. I was having a chat with Michael today, so yeah. Burgoyne's Beer Belly, do I have a 50k subscriber special? Oh, I don't. Send me some suggestions, brother. I will be definitely going to do something good. Peter Wazzy says, how long till you think you'll be number one? Well, Peter, I said 3 to 5 years is the goal for number one in my weight category in the world at 95 kilos. So that's the goal. 3 to 5 years is the goal. Again, how long do I think? How long do I think and the goal are two different things. Like if I'm locked down in Australia and I can't travel at all, it's going to be very difficult to prove that point and get the experience necessary. If I'm able to bring people to Australia to have super matches, I will. That'll give me an opportunity. So a lot of circumstances are going to be factors when determining how long it will take, but 3 to 5 years is the goal. Paul Revere says, shout at us twins from 504. We are still your biggest fans. Paul Revere, good stuff, man. Yeah, I remember you guys well in the corner there at 504. I really appreciate the support. Can I beat RVJ right now? Says Edwin 1234. Like I said, I put RVJ in that category amongst the Ongobayevs, the Sashos, the John Brzenks, those guys, the Zolowevs. I don't think I'm the favorite on any of those guys on paper, but I'm worthy of a match with any of them. And so if I'm worthy, there's a window. Be it 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 49%, whatever that window might be. The longer a super match, the more chances I have of finding that target, that crack, as Devin Barrett. There might be so many other ways that I could lose the match, but once I find the way that is the way, I'll put my foot in that door and open it up. So yeah, of course I could, in theory, in my head anyway, beat any of those guys. Will it happen? Like I said, I want to lose matches. I'm here to lose. I'm looking for losses. Um, those are the caliber guys that I feel like I need to seek out in order to get a loss. But yeah, of course I could beat RBJ. Would I go into a hook with Toddzilla? A high hook, yeah. I wouldn't go supinated hook. His forearm length is too short. My elbow to wrist is 12 inches. His is 10. So going into a supinated hook with Toddzilla is a dumb move, technically. It's just stupid. You are not going to win. Well, I'm not going to win doing that. I would. The other thing is trying to top roll completely Toddzilla is also a bad idea because his fingers are great. And if you commit fully to a top roll and fail, you are disconnecting yourself from your side pressure and arm pressure. So, no, I would not try to top roll Todd Hutchins. I would high hook Todd Hutchins and drive sideways within that high hook and then maintain the position and let him have to try to pin me and force him. So I would hit to establish a high hook. I would keep my pronation up. I'd drive sideways with a constant but not aggressive pressure. And then he would hopefully start to feel his hand and rotation becoming fatigued more than he's happy with, which would force him to drive, which makes his hand, if I survive those drives, it makes his hand worse, which gives me the opportunity to get my shoulders behind, finish with a press. That's how I would take on Todd. Just reading your comments again. How's my training and preparation for Lachlan going? It's going good. It's going very specifically good. Yeah, that's all I'm thinking about. In respect to my training at the moment, that's all I'm thinking about is preparing to beat Lachlan. So, yeah, it's good. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to tell Lachlan what it is. But anyway, it's going good. I'll just say that. Have I seen how Jerry Cataract trains his press? No, I haven't. Jerry's one of my guys that I have in the back of my head on my list. He's the #1 ranked ginger in the world, and I want that title. So somewhere in that scheme of goals is beat Jerry and take the #1 redhead title. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, I might leave it there. I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fix this morning, so go check it out if you want to see the arguments between myself and Neil and Bozidar. I think Michael Todd's actually going to potentially release a video on it as well because he said it got under his skin, seeing what was said. So keep an eye out on Michael's channel. He might do a video specifically about this, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the fix. Go check it out. Thanks for being here. I'm going to get back to making some content in the edited form. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Let me know in the comments whether you think I can ever be #1. All right, see you guys.